political career of Robespierre is inevitably linked to the Terror. Many historians have argued over his importance throughout the history of the French Revolution. The traditional view is that he was a Democrat and a supporter of liberty, yet lacking in political vision. Other historians, like Richard Cobb, thought him fussy and vaguely ridiculous. John Hardman, one historian, argued that Robespierre would never have admitted that he enjoyed exercising power for his own sake. He suggested his aim was to create a republic of virtue. Others emphasized the three elements of Robespierre's political career: that government should be based on ethical principles, that people are always good, and in every community there must be a single sovereign will. Another leading historian with the Marxist viewpoint supports the notion that Robespierre played an important role in attempting to provide a theoretical justification for the Terror, but pointed out that he was incapable of making an accurate analysis of the social realities of the time. And revisionist historians see Robespierre as a prophet who believed everything he said and expressed it in a language of the revolution. Regardless of the viewpoint of Robespierre, we do know one thing: he became victim of his own reign of terror. In the spring and early summer of 1794, Robespierre started to lose support in three key areas: among the Catholics, among the sans-culottes, and also on the Committee of Public Safety and the Committee of General Security. Robespierre believed in God and had genuine faith in life after death, in which the virtuous would be rewarded. He loathed the de-Christianization campaign of the sans-culottes, partly on religious grounds and partly because it upset Catholics and created enemies of the revolution. He wanted to unite all Frenchmen in a new religion, the cult of the Supreme Being, which he persuaded the Convention to accept in a decree on the 7th of May, 1794. It began: "The people of France recognizes the existence of the Supreme Being and of immortality of the soul." On June 8, 1794, Robespierre organized in Paris a large festival of the Supreme Being. This new religion pleased no one. Catholics were distressed because it ignored Catholic doctrine, ceremonies, and the Pope. Anti-clericals, including most members of the Committee of General Security, opposed it because they thought it was at first a step towards the reintroduction of Roman Catholicism. They felt that Robespierre was setting himself up as the high priest of the new religion. Robespierre's popularity among the sans-culottes was failing sharply for a number of reasons: the execution of Ibert, the dissolution of the popular societies, the end of direct democracy in the sections, the rising of the maximum on prices in March, and the imposing on the maximum on wages. While the Paris Commune had been under control of Ibert, it had not applied the maximum on wages, which had risen considerably above the limit allowed. The government now decided it would have to act, as the profits of manufacturers were disappearing. On July 23rd, therefore, the Commune, now staffed by Robespierre's supporters, decided to apply the maximum to wages. This led to a fall in wages by as much as half and heightened discontent among the majority of the sans-culottes, who were wage earners. Also, the Great Terror sickened many ordinary people, workers as well as bourgeoisie. By the spring of 1794, the Republic's armies had driven all foreign troops from French soil, recaptured lost territory in Belgium, and moved into the Rhineland. On the domestic front, internal enemies had been defeated and government authority restored over all parts of the country. Many questioned whether it was still necessary to apply the ruthless policy of the Terror now that the threats to the Republic had been dealt with. The dictatorship of the two committees remained unchallengeable. until they fell out amongst themselves. In April, the CPS set up its own police bureau with Robespierre in charge to prosecute dishonest officials. The CGS deeply resented this interference with its own control of internal security, so that the two committees became rivals rather than allies. There was also conflicts within the CPS. Some members disliked the laws of Ventossi. Many on the CPS were becoming suspicious of Robespierre, particularly following the introduction of the cult of supreme being, and he was losing support among his former allies. During these divisions, Robespierre took a month away from public life. He made no speeches in the convention between the 18th of June and July 26th, attended the CPS only 2 or 3 times, and even gave up his work at the Bureau of Police. It may be that he was worn out both physically and emotionally, as all members of the committee had worked long hours for months without a break. When he did reappear, it was to address the convention, not the committee. On July 26, or July was also known as the month of Thermidor, he made a speech attacking those colleagues who, he claimed, were plotting against the government. When asked to name them, he declined. This proved to be his undoing. Any denunciation by Robespierre would have resulted in arrest and almost certainly death. Moderates like Carnot and terrorists like Fauché all felt threatened. Fearing that Robespierre was about to denounce them as traitors, a number of his former colleagues conspired to plot against him before he could order their arrest. When Robespierre attempted to speak at the convention on July 27th, he was shouted down. The convention then voted for the arrest of Robespierre, his brother, Saint Just, and other followers, including the commander of the Paris National Guard. They were taken to prisons controlled by the Commune. Robespierre and his colleagues continued to be popular in the Commune, and its leaders ordered all jailers in Paris to refuse to accept the prisoners and called for an insurrection in their support. Following their release, they were ordered then the National Guard of the sections, still under their control, to mobilize. Some of them even escaped. However, because of the dictatorship established by the two committees, neither the Jacobin Club nor the Paris Commune could inspire these militants as they had done in September of 1792. The CGS now controlled the revolutionary committees of the sections, and the popular societies had been dissolved. There was great confusion on the evening of July 27th, as the convention also called on the National Guard to support it against the Commune. Most sections took no action at first. Only 17 out of 48 sent troops to support the Commune. They included artillery units, and for several hours had the convention at its mercy. Only a failure of nerve on the part of the commander and Robespierre's strange reluctance to act saved the convention. Robespierre had little faith in a popular rising for which no plans had been made and wanted to keep within the law. Barré proposed that the prisoners be declared outlaws on the basis that they had escaped. This meant that they could be executed without a trial. The decree of outlawry and the enforcement of the law persuaded many sections which were uncertain about who to support to side with the convention. When they reached the Hôtel de Ville, where Robespierre and his supporters were based, they found no one defending it. Amid scenes of great confusion, Robespierre, who tried to shoot himself, and his leading supporters were arrested for a second time. On July 28, 1794, he and 21 others were executed. In the next few days, over 100 members of the Commune followed Robespierre to the scaffold. The events of the Coup of Thermidor effectively meant the rejection of government by terror. The terror was dead, although the violence would continue. The Coup of Thermidor brought to an end the most dramatic period of the Revolution, the Reign of Terror. Through a combination of policies that were attractive to their core supporters and ruthlessness to their enemies, the Jacobin dictatorship ensured the defeat of the Republic's internal and external enemies. But in the end, it became a victim of its own internal setup. Many of the gains made since 1789 were preserved and even extended. In the course of defeating her enemies, the Republic created a highly motivated citizen army, which laid the foundations for future conquests in Europe. However, these successful aspects were more than balanced by a number of negative features. There was the massive loss of life and devastation, the extreme policies of the CPS and the CGS, which alienated many Catholics and the bourgeoisie. Even the sans-culottes became disillusioned with the extremist policies. The ferocity of the reaction to the terror indicates the depth of the hostility felt by large numbers of men and women towards the system created by Robespierre and his allies.